How to control everything on your phone with your voice, iOS and Android. The old approach just got more expensive. The practical edge now comes from changing process, timing, and tooling together. We will map trigger, incentive shift, and downstream impact before the close. Not metaphorically, literally optional. What you're about to see fundamentally shifts how you interact with the device you use 150 times a day. 6 months ago, voice commands on phones felt clunky. Siri would misunderstand half the time. Google Assistant required perfect pronunciation. You'd spend more energy talking than tapping. So nobody used them. The technology existed, but the workflow was broken. Then everything changed. Apple and Google quietly rebuilt how voice works on phones, not just for calling or playing music, but for everything. Every app. Every setting. Every notification. Every workflow that currently requires your hands. Let me show you what this actually means. Imagine this. You're driving. Both hands on the wheel. Your email piles up. Notifications flood in. A Slack message from your boss arrives. Normally, you tap the phone at a red light, squint at the screen, thumb through 3 apps to respond. Dangerous. Distracting. Time-wasting. Now. You say one sentence, "Hey Siri, tell my manager on Slack that the report's done and send it to finance." Your phone listens. Understands context. Opens Slack. Composes the message. Sends it. All without touching the screen. But here's where it gets significant. This isn't just convenience. This is a fundamental workflow shift. And workflow shifts change everything downstream: productivity, app design, attention economy, accessibility, even how companies build products. The underlying technology is threefold. First, on-device processing. Both iOS 18 and Android 15 now run large language models locally on your phone's chip. This means your phone understands context without sending voice to the cloud. It's private, fast, and accurate. Second, semantic understanding. Your phone no longer just matches keywords. It understands intent. Turn off notifications except from Mom is not a string match anymore, it's a parsed intention that maps to system settings, app permissions, and notification filters. Third, action automation. The phone can chain actions together without user intervention. One voice command triggers multiple steps across multiple apps. This is massive. Who does this actually impact? For creators and operators, voice control removes friction from repetitive workflows. Podcasters can mark timestamps without stopping. Drivers can respond to messages without pulling over. Students can take notes while reading. The time saved across a week. Hours. For accessibility, this is transformative. Users with motor disabilities can now control their entire phone with voice alone. Apple and Google both emphasize this, and it's real. The market just expanded for smartphone adoption. For app developers, this is a problem. If users can automate workflows through system voice commands, they don't need custom apps for every task anymore. A voice command replaces buttons. This shifts power from apps back to the operating system, and to whoever controls voice parsing. For privacy-conscious users, on-device processing is a genuine advantage. Your voice data never leaves your phone. But here's the counterpoint nobody's mentioning yet: if all voice processing happens locally, then Apple and Google can't improve the model from your data. They can't learn new accents, dialects, or domain-specific language from your usage. The trade-off is real, and it's being glossed over. Now, what changes next? In the next 30 days, expect app developers to announce voice-first integrations. Banking apps will add voice-based transactions. Email clients will pitch voice composition. Project management tools will advertise voice logging. The race is on to integrate with system voice APIs before users realize they don't need those apps anymore. In the next 3 months, accessibility becomes a competitive differentiator. Companies hiring remote workers will market voice control as a workplace benefit. Fatigue from screen time becomes a measurable productivity problem, and voice control becomes the solution. In the next year, expect backlash around accuracy. Voice control works well for structured commands. But nuanced language, sarcasm, colloquialism, regional accents, still breaks the model. You'll see viral videos of voice commands failing, and that will slow adoption in non-English markets for another 18 months. Here's the thing people aren't talking about: voice control doesn't democratize tech, it shifts the power structure. Today, if you want to automate your phone, you learn to code, or you use a third-party automation app. Tomorrow, the person who controls the voice parser controls what's possible. Right now, that's Apple and Google. In 5 years, it might be OpenAI, Anthropic, or whoever builds the most accurate voice model. The platform shifts, but the concentration of power actually deepens. For you, right now, here's what matters: voice control on your phone is genuinely useful for specific workflows: driving, hands-free note-taking, accessibility, smart home control. It's not a replacement for touch. It's an augment. And understanding where it fits into your workflow is the difference between a productivity boost and a gimmick you ignore. The second-order implication: the phone itself is becoming less about the screen and more about being a command center. The interface is moving from visual to vocal. This affects everything: how apps are designed, how operating systems prioritize features, how companies think about user engagement. Voice changes the game because it removes friction. And removing friction changes behavior. This is worth paying attention to, not because it's revolutionary, but because it's real. It works. And the downstream implications are still being built. Watch the app ecosystem over the next 90 days. Watch for voice-first startups. Watch for accessibility metrics in hiring. Watch for the first viral video of a voice command failure. That's when the real story starts. Your phone is about to understand everything you say. Not just voice commands, actual context. Apple and Google just rebuilt voice controls to run directly on your device, which means you can automate entire workflows without touching the screen. One-sentence commands. Chain multiple apps together. Works while driving, working, or when your hands are full. This isn't a gimmick, it's a fundamental shift in how phones work. And here's why it matters: voice removes friction from repetitive tasks, which means the creator, driver, and worker who master it first will gain real productivity edge.